Hello, everyone. Welcome to Post Match Live Session. I'm Suramya Kaushik, your host for the day. And the third match in this three-match ODI series between India and New Zealand has been called off due to rain. Well, rain has played a spoil sport throughout this series. Only the first match was played in its complete sense, and New Zealand had won that match. And that's why New Zealand have won this series as well. But today also we saw India's innings. India managed to score only 219 runs. Well, that's quite concerning. Also, the bowling department was also a part wherein a lot many people are saying that what has been done in that front too. Now we'll talk everything in detail, but there are few things here. We didn't see the matches in its complete form throughout this series, so we have in form with us the first match and the last match that happened in bit of its sense. But to talk all about that in detail, I have with me Akash Biswas. Hello, Akash.
Hi, Suromya.
So Akash, I was just, talking about how disappointing it is. Everyone waits for such kind of series, especially before the series. Everyone was like, okay, we'll get to see youngsters, but we saw only one match in its complete form. And then the third match today, India didn't bat well. And then also the bowling department was also concerning. What do you think was the major concern today?
Well, as you rightly mentioned, the biggest concern was the weather because I think before prior to the start of the game, when Rishabh Pant spoke to one of the broadcasters, he said, "समझ में नहीं आता कि मैच डे वाले दिन ही बारिश क्यों होती है." And in fact, what we have been seeing in on social media, like when these players have, I think they gotten out for shopping or hopping around somewhere in Christchurch, and in fact, they when they trained, it was the sun was out there, the sky
Yeah,
was clean, but come the match day, the overcast conditions, rain threat and all, and ultimately heartbreaks, not only for us those who are watching the game from our on our television screens, but mostly for them those who are there at the venue. Apart from that, if we speak about the concerns, then yes, the biggest concern for India, what they if we especially talk about the takeaways from this series, is India's bowling attack. Yeah, we didn't have our senior players right now, but still the bowling this bowling unit lacked that firepower somewhere down the line, because there were, if you see, only two, I think just one game was played completely,
yeah,
the second one got completely washed out, and the third one we just saw, I would say 3/4 of the game was done. So in all these in a span of these 3-4 days, we just saw Umran Malik making the most of the conditions and coming out as the highest wicket taker for India, and that too just 3 wickets he could pick, because
yeah,
and also, since the weather played a crucial role in that, nothing more could have been done. But still, the now I would like to speak about the batters who were a bit disappointed, and especially I will speak about Rishabh Pant, who was named a vice captain for this entire tour, but we
mm,
didn't see him playing like one. He has been constantly under the scanner because of due to his poor white ball records, and he had a very good opportunity to better them when he faces a stiff competition with the likes of Sanju Samson and Ishan Kishan. People
yeah,
are talking about Sanju Samson, but there is Ishan Kishan as well who is in the fray. But still, but still Rishabh Pant, being the vice captain of this team, a young, a young side, he didn't show that character, and that was one of the concerns. And yes, the failure of this middle order, that will be one concern to take away when we move
yeah.
on to the next series, which is in a few days time.
Absolutely. And you raised a very valid point about Rishabh Pant's form. And, when we have Sanju Samson also there, in the preview of the match, we had a word about, why Sanju Samson is benched when he can replace Rishabh Pant. It's more or the same, like a like for like replacement. We had a word around it, but we will talk about it in detail as well. Now, Akash, in today's match, the openers were very okayish in terms. Now, are we very much relying on our openers? Because if today Washington Sundar wouldn't have played those innings, we were not even near to that 200-run mark. So do you think there is heavy reliance on our openers? Because if you see down the line, we had Rishabh Pant, we had Deepak Hooda, none of them scored really well.
Exactly. And one more thing, if you want to see this, this entire scenario with another perspective, like what if the senior players, those who are not, those who are, reportedly rested for this series, are not available due to some serious issues, like some of them are injured, or not well, not in
Yeah.
conditions to play the game, then obviously the management has to seek the help of these youngsters. And if you
Yeah.
see this batting lineup, this is pretty much a good batting lineup. I won't call it a second string, second string side that will be playing if the seniors are not around. And
Yeah.
one more thing, like you said, the heavy reliance on the openers, yeah, it's a bit of a concern again there, because not every time, the duo of Shikhar Dhawan and Shubman Gill will produce a 100 plus
Mm.
opening stand. There will be games like this when they will get out, India will lose early wickets, and yeah, somewhere down the line the responsibility is on the openers for providing a good start. But if they are failing to do it, then the what we have been seeing, that the middle order comes into action. And there's the thing, there's the case when you need to take the onus. If Shikhar Dhawan or Shubman Gill are not performing, then obviously the later batters have to perform. And that's what we missed there. We missed the trick today, because the score of 219 is nothing against this New Zealand side, who is playing full strength in this
Absolutely.
in this series. So we have been putting our all our money on Surya Kumar Yadav, but see today he could only score a 6 out of 10 balls. Rishabh
Mm.
Pant, once again, he came down. He came even before Surya Kumar Yadav, and he had a opportunity to form a good partnership with Shreyas Iyer, who scored almost 49 out of 59. If had he not played that miscued pull shot, he could have sustained a bit longer and could have forged a good partnership. The thing that Sanju Samson did in the first ODI, he scored I think 90 odd run partnership, 94 run partnership with Shreyas Iyer. That was
Mm.
a crucial one after the opening partnership flourished. So these are the things that this management, that the stand-in management, Indian team management, which is there, which is being led by VVS Lakshman, they should take a note of this and then pass on to the original one, the Rahul Dravid led team. And they now have to decide what and how they plan to go ahead, because now they are going to play against Bangladesh at their home. I don't think that will be a bigger threat, because usually Bangladesh is not considered as one of the
Mm.
greatest sorry, one of the, not greatest, but one of the toughest team to face. But
Mm.
sometimes even they can turn to be a hard nut to crack. So with
Absolutely.
that scenario, they need to plan their roadmap ahead. And now it's time, literally now it's time to sort out that number 4 position, number 5 position. Even if they are, even this, the management is making some alterations to that, they should make in such a way that whosoever player is getting altered should go out there and play with complete authority.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, how these players need to perform with complete authority. In that sense, we really need to discuss about Rishabh Pant. And Akash, in all our previous live sessions, we have discussed why not Sanju Samson, why Rishabh Pant in the team. I won't ask that question right now because, we have discussed this issue at length. Now, the actual question here is, what is the problem with Rishabh Pant? What kind of thing that you can see is concerning with Rishabh Pant's form? Do you think it's the type of shots he's playing, or do you think it's the approach that he is taking? What is the problem with him in these matches, if you have tracked out?
Well, what actually going through his mind, he only knows. But yeah, the pattern what we can see or compare while sitting at our places and watching him play on the television, we can only say that the pattern of him getting out is pretty much simple, similar, since
Mhm.
since he made his debut in 2018. Then you just see he tries to go bonkers, and then when he goes for a big shot, he just miscues it. The ball rises high up in the air, and he ultimately ends up, holding out to some players very close to him. So that's one thing which he needs to recover from, and that's one more aspect that has been mm, uh, thoroughly discussed through in past years, but still the same pattern is being followed. So that's something that he needs to overcome. And today, one thing I noticed, one more thing, like before the game started, Shashi Tharoor made a tweet where he compared the strike rates and averages, not strike rate, averages of Sanju
Mm.
Samson and Rishabh Pant. Like Sanju Samson had pretty much better average, even more than 60, then in comparison to Rishabh Pant, who I guess no, who doesn't have the average of even 40. So that's the difference. There the difference lies, and till Rishabh Pant will continue failing with the bat, these comparisons will keep popping up, and I don't know with what vision the team management is playing Rishabh Pant consistently, without despite the fact that he is not able to produce in the this entire year in the white ball cricket, except for his maiden ODI century against England. He hasn't done anything in important games like this. Today it was a do or die game. Ultimately the game called off and we didn't get a result, but had it been a full game, I don't think India could have saved the game, because the way New Zealand started their chase. So,
Absolutely.
and 219 run target is nothing, as I said, when a full strength New Zealand team is playing, that too at their home. So that's the case. That's the thing India need to deal with very seriously. And if they want to, take Rishabh Pant ahead, and if they want to groom him as a future captain option, then they have to deal with him strictly, not just with his wicket keeping or batting, because he is a flawless wicket. He has turned into a flawless wicket keeper, that we can see. But when it comes to score runs in the middle order, it's quite crucial. Obviously, when you don't have someone like a Hardik Pandya in the middle, and given that when Surya Kumar Yadav is getting out pretty early, so that's something which India needs to look at.
Absolutely, Akash. You picked up 2 points. We will come to the chase factor, and we will also come to how our bowlers performed and what is concerning in that department as well. But a very valid point, as you mentioned about the statistics and the comparisons that are done between Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson. Actually, Akash, I also followed this pattern on Twitter, that what are people actually demanding in case of Sanju Samson? People are not saying that, I read it like most of them are not saying that, okay, Sanju Samson is better than Rishabh Pant. People are saying that there should be equal chances and opportunities given to each and every player. So that is very concerning. Like we had discussed this before as well, that Rishabh Pant has gotten a lot many chances. And if we see this recent series, we won't even go back, a lot. So in this series, we have seen that Rishabh Pant hasn't scored. In the first match where both were there, Sanju Samson and Rishabh Pant, Pant, I think, scored just 15 runs, and Samson scored, I think, 36 runs. So in that also comparison happens, and that is the reason why people are demanding. And I can just see on Twitter right now, it's a hashtag justice for Sanju Samson, and it's because people want equal opportunities for the players. So I think that's the case with both of them. And now we'll come to the bowling department as well. You rightly mentioned that if that play had happened, like New Zealand had played the whole match, they would have definitely won it, because the way Finn Allen started to bat, he lost his wicket just before, I think, couple of overs before the play stopped. So otherwise they were really in great form. They lost just only one wicket. Now what is the problem here as well, Akash? How do you see this problem in the India's bowling department?
Well, I would only say that this New Zealand team, I think they had, they did their homework very well, because you see the first ODI when Tom Latham and Kane
Yeah,
Williamson
Kane
formed that
Williams.
partnership, despite New Zealand started very poorly. And today, the way Finn Allen started, that was pretty commendable. And that's the thing. That's how a team progresses, when it's all about filling those loopholes.
Mm.
Finn then got out early in the first game, then they might have gone through this entire bowling unit. They might have learned them, researched them, because the unit was pretty much same what they faced in the T20Is, minus Bhuvneshwar Kumar, because Bhuvneshwar Kumar wasn't a part of the ODI squad. The youngsters came up. They Arshdeep Singh, Umran Malik. Arshdeep Singh, they knew him very well because they had faced him in the T20s as well. But when it came to the longer format, the 50 over format, he was pretty ineffective because he could not scalp a single wicket throughout the tour. But overall, it was a very good tour for Umran Malik, who was fortunate enough to make his international debut, and he is going with most number of wickets, which is only three. But yeah, if we go by the numbers, then he is the top wicket taker of this Indian team. And now the thing is, there will be concerns about obviously the all-rounders whom we played in this entire series, especially Shardul Thakur and Washington Sundar. Yeah,
Hmm.
Washington Sundar was good. He was effective. He has been very much effective with the bat in hand. Uh, be it the T20Is or be it the ODIs, he played some crucial knocks that eventually, powered India to a respected score. Even you see the first ODI, he played a very good cameo towards the end with Shreyas Iyer, and today he was a lone warrior fighting over there. He lacked, support from the other end. Had someone stood over there, India could have easily crossed the 250 run mark, but that wasn't the case. He was the only batter struggling with the Kiwi bowlers. So yeah, but when it comes to his bowling, there he lacked because uh, it's just because one thing I would like to mention, that in picking out the case of Ravindra Jadeja, the kind of standard he has set, people, obviously, whosoever comes in at his place, people will expect him to play like that, to even score in crunch situations and get wickets when nobody expects him to do that. But that
Hmm.
wasn't the case with either this Washington Sundar or Shardul Thakur, because we saw Shardul Thakur playing effectively in this entire tour. But when it comes to his bowling, none of his tricks worked against the Kiwi batters. Those slower ones, those knuckle balls, nothing. They were completely nullified by the Kiwi batting lineup. So these things now also adds to those list of woes what India need to take further, because this year is almost over, and as we usher into a new year, the 50 over World Cup will also be around the corner. So that's the thing. If you And as you said about one thing, I would also like to mention, like you mentioned about the case of Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson, pretty much about giving number of games to the youngsters if you want to groom them with a perspective that these XYZ players are going, are in contention for the 50 over World Cup. That's not only us, but the experts have also been saying that at least a player, no matter if he is a senior player or a junior player or someone who is making a debut, if a person is capable of playing in this team, and when you have a World Cup around, then he should be given enough chances before a decision is being made.
Absolutely. And on that note, we have a question here, Akash. Abhishek Sharma is asking why Indian top and middle order batters do not bowl. I think he actually means about the all rounder aspect in the team. And I think that's because, we have players like Deepak Hooda in the squad. And that is why Deepak Hooda was brought in, because Shikhar Dhawan said that we need an extra bowling option and Sanju Samson was rested out. Now, if we take this question, in case right now, what do you think? Are is this current Indian team lacking that extra bowler or all rounders? Is that the case?
Not this current Indian team on the whole, but and if you speak about particular today's game, then you see the game was called off before even just 20 overs were bowled and the game was called off. So I think if Deepak Huda was there, stating, I mean, given that he was roped in place of Sanju Samson as an extra bowling option, then he would definitely have bowled. But yeah, since rain interrupted the game, that chance was also gone. And I think that trick was not played by the Indian captain Shikhar Dhawan, because he might have thought him to employ him a bit later, but his plans were, I would say, were dashed by the rain. So that's
But
the case. Yeah.
yeah, but also he didn't bat well. If you see, in all our live sessions before, we have quite a lot many times, said that okay, it's not Deepak Huda's fault because he gets only those few balls to play, and that's why it's his job out there to go for shots and all of that purpose. But today he had plenty of game left there. He just scored 12 runs. So if Shikhar Dhawan or the team is saying that okay, we wanted to try an extra bowling option and Deepak Huda can be our all rounder, so in that sense, the batting department is not getting fixed. Okay, Deepak Hunda can bring in wickets, and as you said, that decision didn't work out well today because the match wasn't played in its fullest form. So if we see Deepak Hooda, so what all we saw was just Deepak Hooda's batting, but that didn't work out. So as a whole, can we say that the whole decision to bring in Deepak Hooda in place of Sanju Samson failed to some extent?
Yeah, definitely. The stat speaks itself because, and in one, if you see it from one direction, it will definitely look like the move failed because Deepak Huda got just one game because the second game was washed out where he came in place of Sanju Samson. The same team was playing in this ODI as well. So when you see, and we speak about Deepak Huda, we will find that he got nothing, not that opportunity. He
Hmm.
didn't get that opportunity, to show his caliber up to the fullest. When he
Yeah.
came to bat, he scored almost 10-12 runs, I think, and
Yeah.
didn't get to bowl. So I won't blame the particular player entirely because there was a lack of opportunity as well. And if you
Okay.
see his entire career, and if we speak experience wise, then
Hmm.
that's a factor as well because what I can see, he has just played 10 ODI matches and has 153 runs to his name and just 3 wickets. So
Hmm.
that's also a case because when you don't have game time, you don't have that experience of and the knowledge how to deal under this kind of circumstances or this kind of situation. So that also plays a big role in a particular player's performance. So that could be one perspective to see it. And yes, if going forward, if we see and now, as we heading into to the Bangladesh series, the players will directly travel to Bangladesh. Those who are named in the ODI squad, and the team gets completely changed over there. So these differences will also matter. And if we speak about now the particular Deepak Huda's performance, then I would say it was just a matter of one game where it didn't work well, and the later half was obviously interrupted by the rain.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there are three, four pointers that all come to one point, that what's the squad, Indian squad for the Bangladesh series. But before that, Akash, you mentioned about how we need to give chances to the youngsters, because it's the road to ODI World Cup next year. And one of our viewers also said that, all the performers and all the players who are out of form shouldn't be included in the squads. And in that note, we will actually see what's the squad of India. Now, you see, India squad for the Bangladesh ODIs. You see here, now we have Rishabh Pant over here, and everybody is talking that why Rishabh Pant has been included. Now, Sanju Samson's name is not here. So, in such a case, Akash, what do you think? Are we actually giving chances to the youngsters, or this is a squad that should have been modified and should have incorporated more young players?
Yeah, but before answering that question, I would make a point here that whatever players we discussed about, none of them are there in the Bangladesh squad. You see, for the,
Hmm.
I mean, for the Bangladesh tour, we don't have Arshdeep Singh, we don't have Umran Malik, we don't have Deepak Huda, nor we have Sanju Samson. So in that case, how would how would you compare them when it comes to the upcoming series? We can just talk
Hmm.
about this game only, and there the problem lies. If they are playing just one series and the entire squad gets changed for the next couple of, or next series, next couple of games, then how could you assess on a whole that which player is good to sustain in a longer run, or whom to drop, or whom to rest, or whom to say that you need some more practice, go play domestic cricket and come back stronger? Then you cannot make a fair decision in that case. So that's what I can see over here. And one thing, and one more important thing to mention, this squad was selected by the previous selection committee, which is not in function anymore. So let's see, whosoever comes in charge, if he is wise enough, or he all those four guys see the things with that perspective. Like if we want XYZ player to play a big tournament like World Cup, then he should be backed or groomed right from the word go. Or if he doesn't fit, then in the up after giving him 6 to 7 games, he should be benched and replaced by other player. So the only time will tell. But as of now, as I mentioned, since the squad changes completely, now we will obviously the focus shift on those players, those who are going to play in this series, and the cycle will go on.
Absolutely, Akash. And because in this squad, we saw that all the experienced players are coming in. So again, there'll be a huge discussion and there'll be a debate about, did we even give ample of opportunities to the youngsters? Because in this series, as I earlier mentioned, Rain played a big spoil sport. Just one match in this whole series, and wasn't enough for anyone to actually judge who played really well or not. But on that note, Akash, we have last question, and this is a bit interesting. Abhishek Sharma is asking the question that why workload management is not necessary for Pant. Well, the second part of the question is it confirmed that Pant will be there in the squad of World Cup? I believe that that'll be known to us later on. But the first part of this question, Akash, why workload management is not necessary for Pant? Because everybody is talking about workload management is very very important for other players, but why not for Pant?
Well, I don't think I am, a suitable person to answer this question, because um, on what basis this workload management is being, assessed, I literally do not know. Because if that's the case with the players, then and we saw in this New Zealand tour, the entire coaching staff was also given a break,
Oh, yeah.
citing workload management. So I don't think, and as we saw, this workload management got pretty much, hyped just in the tenure of Chetan Sharma led selection committee, which faced too much backlash, especially after India's exit from the T20 World Cup, and in fact, we ultimately saw them getting sacked. So I think the new body which joins shall, work in that way, that the hype around workload management get decreased. So let's hope for the best. And yeah, speaking about Rishabh Pant, now the selectors or the team management should work upon him, because as far as his white ball stats are concerned, that are pretty much concerning. That's not good in comparison to any other cricketer who is being compared with him or is in race against him. So yeah, going forward, his case become a little bit, fragile to take care of. And I think the Indian team shall see this entire scenario with that perspective.
Well, right. We'll see what happens in India Bangladesh series, because that'll be interesting to watch as well. Because all the experienced players will be back in, and the ones who have gotten the opportunity, the youngsters who have gotten the opportunity, let's see, will they capitalize on that opportunity or not? Thank you so much, Akash, for being with me. It was really fun talking to you about this whole series. Thank you so much.
Thank you, pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for joining with us in this post match live session. We had a detailed discussion as to what all went wrong in this series, as New Zealand have won it by 1-0. In this series, we saw only one match in its complete form, the first match wherein New Zealand had won it. The second match was completely abandoned by rain. And the third match, we saw only India's batting, because when New Zealand came out to bat, it started raining and then the match ended without any result. But we will be moving further to India versus Bangladesh series, it'll be interesting series to watch out for, because as Akash was telling us just a little while before, that there are no youngsters. We were talking about Sanju Samson, we were talking about Umran Malik in this live session, but all those players are not there in the Bangladesh series. So that'll be an interesting point to discuss on. But to stay tuned with all these updates, you need to subscribe to our channel, that's Cricket Next on YouTube, or you can also stay tuned with us on our various social media platforms, that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Till then, enjoy cricket. Take care.